What's going on? Welcome back to the party. Luke Inman filling in for Sam Ekstrom. He's abroad overseas right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Another jam-packed episode with our Wednesday Kare 11 extravaganza. Your team every day on today's show. We got Viking stock for the next hour or so. We got rookie mini camp starting at TCO and let's see, less than 24 hours. Which rookies are we most excited to watch put those pads on for the first time in purple at TCO? Plus, ESPN's latest power rankings are out. Now that the dust is settled on the offseason, we'll tell you where the Vikings rank among the league's best. Is it too high? Is it too low? Finally, I got a fun little pick'em segment for the panel here later on as well. But first, quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Game Time. Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. All right, let's meet today's panel. Julia Daniels, take it away.
Wow, we're starting with me? Awesome. Girls go first, I guess. Julia Daniels, sports reporter at Kare 11. I'm sitting in the sun because if I sit too far back, then it looks like I'm sitting in a cave. So if you see me squinting, that's why. Got to put my Vikings hat back on. We've been covering so much Wolves and Wild lately, but good to talk a little football.
Reggie, what do you got?
My bad. You messed. The order it just kind of threw me off.
We're switching it up, man. It's May 7th. We're in the off season. We're trying new plays. All right.
You're
We're
like
trying
the dude
new playbook. All right.
and just goes out.
He's supposed to throw a hitch first, and Luke just went straight 9
No,
rounds.
8 yards.
No,
Peyton Manning. I want that hitch at 8 yards, Reg. All right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Reggie Wilson, sports director at Kare 11, and I saw Vikings beat writer Alec Lewis at the Timberwolves game last night. After the result, I told him, "Don't come back. Stick to your beat, bro."
And I'm Ron Johnson, former Gophers and NFL wide receiver. George Pickens has just been traded to the Cowboys for a 2026 third-round pick and 2027 fifth-round pick. So DK Metcalf,
Juju.
he's got his deal over there by himself now. DK Metcalf by himself with the Steelers. I don't know if the Steelers have a quarterback, but we know the Vikings have a quarterback, and we're going to talk about where his prop bets are. Are they too good? Are they too low? Is JJ McCarthy suited to be quote unquote rookie of the year? I don't even know if he qualifies.
All that and plenty more. Let's jump right into this rookie draft class. Again, we've talked about this rookie draft class now for the Vikings at length, ad nauseum on this channel. Ron, you nailed that Donovan Jackson pick. No big deal, right? What is that, 4 years in a row now, if my math's correct?
Nothing too big.
No big deal. Don't want to brag about it. But, now that the dust has settled here, guys, free agency's over, the draft is over, rookie mini camp starts at TCO and in less than 24 hours now. I want to start with you, Ron, because you play in the league, you play in the NFL. You know what these young guys might be going through and feeling for the first time they put those pads on. Kind of just walk us through the process of that first weekend. I would imagine the excitement, the nerves are running through these guys as they take the NFL practice field for the first time. What do you remember about that experience? Maybe one good, one bad, and which rookie player are you most excited to see out there?
Like Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, I only need one take on this freestyle remix. I'm basically going with the first day. You get there, it's fun. Everybody's getting off the plane. You're getting on the bus. You're getting on the whatever they pick you up in a van. I don't know if they do Ubers. I don't even know how it works nowadays. But back in the day, we had to wait for everybody to get off the plane. We get in the van. We get to the hotel. You find out like who your roommate is. You got all your stuff. These guys are way better than we were. We had to actually then bus over to the facility. The Vikings have the hotel right there where they practice. So these guys just have to walk across the bridge. It's going to be nice weather this week for the next actually 2 weeks. But it's a lot. It is a lot. Once you do that, then it's like the water hose. You go in, you get your helmet fitted, you get your head fitted, you get your shoulder pads, you get your T-shirts, you get your shorts, your socks. You got to let them know if you're a Nike or an Adidas guy, all that stuff. My guess is the guys that already signed with the brand, whether they signed with Nike, Adidas, or Under Armour, they've already kind of emailed the Viking staff and let them know that. So you got to make sure those shoes fit. You got to make sure it's your right size, your gloves. I mean, there's so much if you're a visor guy, if you're I need a beanie for my waves, all that stuff, man. That's the first part. And then comes the hard part. Where's the lunchroom? I need to eat lunch. I don't even know. Does this elevator work? Will I get stuck? Like there's There's so much to figure out at that facility. I'll be over there next week to do the Vikings schedule release. So I'm going to make sure I go out to practice for a little bit before we do that. I told Kobe King's mom already, tell Kobe to stop in the studio. I told Kobe this too, and this is what I learned. When you walk around as a rookie and you start to meet people, shake hands, and learn names, you become somebody that ends up in the media a lot. You become a guy that people talk about a lot. You become a guy that when the Vikings are figuring out, like, do we keep this veteran? We have to pay X, or do we keep this rookie we drafted in the 5th, 6th round? They're going to be like, man, look at his personality. Man, everybody loves him around here. He's a great team guy. And that's what I hope for Kobe King. And so I don't want to jump the gun on who I'm looking forward to, but I guess that is this time. I'm looking forward to seeing Kobe King. That's what I want to see. I mean, Donovan Jackson, yeah, but I want to see what Kobe King looks like, because Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace, and Eric Wilson. I mean, that was the big thing last year is when Ivan Pace went down, we had Grugier, I don't even want to say it wrong, Hill.
Grugier Hill, yep.
But, when you think about that, now you need another guy to be behind Blake Cashman, and Blake Cashman's had the toe stuff. He's had the ankle stuff. So, again, you want to have a healthy rotation there too.
I'm picturing Ron day one in Baltimore getting lost in like the janitor's closet. Like, hey, you're supposed to take a left, you took a right. Like, where?
My biggest thing was I wanted 3XL shorts. Because they gave the receivers like larges and extra larges.
Well, that was the style back then.
That was back, back then, 2002.
NBA, Allen Iverson. Yeah.
One of these days, I think I threw all my stuff away. I might have some shorts still, but I put on my Colts shorts the other day. I don't even know what I was thinking. As a coach, I'm like, man, I look crazy out there in these 3X super baggy. Like, I went and got a lineman shorts as a coach, but it makes sense now because Reggie Wayne sent me a picture. He's like, man, what were you doing? And I don't even know what I was doing.
Oh, it was just you. It wasn't like a fat, like it was just Ron Johnson out there.
No, it was everybody. No, but he was asking me what I was doing, like dressing like the players. Because the coaches back then, I was coaching with like Tony Dungy and all these older coaches, Clyde Christensen. So they were out there in the butt huggers, and so I'm like, I'm not doing large shorts. Like I can't do it. And so I went in there. I was like, hey, let me get so-and-so shorts. It was offensive lineman. And so I took a pair of 3X shorts and my t-shirt was like a 2X, just crazy stuff back then. I had the baseball cap on like backwards and, but that was me. I was going to be myself at practice and the players appreciated it. So, but yeah, I think that's the other key too, is like now it's opposite. Now it's how little can my shorts be? Can I wear spandex out there? So I don't think they have to worry about that anymore.
I feel like you should throw some of that up on eBay, maybe a little auction. I feel like you could get some good money for that. Julia, the Vikings did not have the quantity of picks this year, right? They just only had 5 picks when it was all said and done. Donovan Jackson, Ty Felton, Ingram Dawkins from Georgia, Kobe King, Ron's guy, linebacker, Penn State, and then that tight end from Pitt, Gavin Bartholomew. They did get, over 15 UDFAs, which, as we've seen in the past with guys like Ivan Pace, those guys can make an early impact as well. Kwesi and KOC, strong resume when it comes to the undrafted guys. But which rookie do you think can have the biggest impact in 2025?
Well, I do want to go back to what Ron was saying about the guys that are like introducing themselves, making it personality-wise, because I think we saw that from Levi Drake Rodriguez last year. He's a guy who came in, everyone, Reggie and I would stand there at training camp. We'd be like, I just don't know if he's going to make it through training camp. This is a guy that, like, one of my first days out there last year came up to me, introduced himself. He's like, hi, what's your name? Who are you with? I'm Levi, which is not common for those that don't know. When you're at training camp, it's not super common for someone to come up and do that. But it was just like the nicest guy, wanted everybody to know that he was there, excited to be there. And I think that really did help him, like to Ron's point, just like a recent example of that. But I'm excited to see Ty Felton. I think that he has a lot to learn, but what better place to learn than in this receiver room? He has such a high ceiling, I feel like. He's obviously got some weaknesses that they're going to work on, but I feel like if there was ever a place to prove yourself and have some serious, healthy competition, it's here in Minnesota. And do we know for sure? I know that there were rumors that J.J. McCarthy was going to be a rookie.
Good question, because we were talking about this on the Thursday show last week about like Chet Holmgren, right? Chet Holmgren in the NBA, but obviously NBA, NHL are different. MLB, NHL, they got the minor league systems. I don't think we ever came to a resolution or figured this out. So I'm not sure. Either way, I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll find out soon.
Well, and Julie, your question was if he's going to be there at rookie minicamp.
Yeah.
I think so. I'll text Kobe and ask. I think they're gonna find out like soon. I don't know if he's gonna actually do anything or just be out there. Because when he got drafted, he was texting all the rookies. Like, I think he wants to become this captain guy, and having no experience at quarterback, I think he wants to. I don't know if he's going to do much, but I think he does want to be there. Like, what else are you going to do? You're a millionaire sitting at home, like meditating all day. Like, go get some football, watch some play calls, help the quarterbacks out.
Yeah, the guy JJ is his mindset. He wants to be out there. I don't know if there's a technicality like it's just.
I don't think there is. First year and second year and even third year guys that have less than, I forgot the snaps, they can come to rookie minicamp.
Oh, beautiful.
So yeah, okay. So there'll be other guys there that like are from practice squad last year. There'll be guys that were just rookies last year that didn't play much. So yeah, rookie minicamp is not just the rookies; it's all the guys that get invited to camp. Because I saw Elijah Spencer just got invited to like the Jags, or I forgot what camp he got invited to, or Cleveland Browns maybe. So there'll be those type of college guys like Adam Thielen when he was thinking about being a dentist. He got invited to this and ended up getting a contract. So this is a big weekend for those guys too. But I think JJ just wants to be there. But yes, he is eligible to be out there. He's not like Kirk Cousins who threw for 4,000 yards and they're like, nah, you don't need to be there. Like, he's eligible.
JJ's out there, which I think if you're a receiver, like your mindset has to be, my quarterback's going to be out there. I need to make sure that he recognizes who I am and sees what I can
Correct.
do. So I think Ty Felton has a lot of skills and a lot of strengths to be used, but I think that he's got to be highly motivated headed in, especially when he looks at just the depth chart of the receiver room, obviously. But coming in, I think that maybe people are underestimating him a little bit. So hopefully he comes in motivated.
Yeah, I think that's a good one too, because everybody talks about, obviously, well, it's so top heavy in that room with JJ and Addison. But outside of that, when you talk about the actual depth 1 through 5, it's not the prettiest picture. And we all love Jalen Naylor, but Rondale Moore they brought in, he's coming off a big knee injury. And I still think too, Reg, when you only have 4 picks going into the draft, you use your second pick. It's not like just we kind of like this guy as a depth guy in 2-3 years. No, you're expecting that guy to make some sort of early impact. But with this group, Reg, it's tough to set the bar too high because with the UDFAs, you got almost 20 guys to choose from. But of those 20, only one was drafted in, even the top 100 picks because they traded back with that 3rd round pick. And even that pick was a guard, right? Not the sexiest, flashiest position, but nonetheless, which guy, who do you think could exceed maybe expectations and exceed their draft slot for the Vikes in 2025?
Yeah, I agree with Julia. I like Ty Felton, 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4.37. Yeah. Those are numbers that you like, Luke, draft guy.
Let's go.
That's really that kind of, you're like, okay, yeah, he could maybe do some things. And so I'm interested to see how he kind of gets integrated into everything and how much, he gets a chance to be used as a rookie as well. Jalen Naylor coming off a healthy season. And so, he's got one that he can build on. He was productive last year. So I'm interested to see how they work him in. As all the grief that Kevin O'Connell was giving Matthew Collar, about getting a receiver, they still end up taking one with one of their 4 picks. And so I'm interested to see that. But you talked about the UDFAs. I'm actually really interested to see what happens because this is a guy I was kind of looking at before the draft, Silas Bowden. Here's the bar. Brandon Powell caught everything. Hardly ever made any miscues. He always brought the punt in. He always did what he was supposed to do. Also, really since Kane left, they haven't had a guy who could take a kick return to the house. That's something that's kind of been missing from the Vikings and their game. Like, Brandon Powell was always going to be sure-handed. He was always going to catch that punt. But, I saw Brandon Powell take a punt to the house back in the, 2021 season when he played for the Rams.
Yep, that sounds
against
right.
the Vikings. And I don't think he's returned one since. And so you look at Silas Bowden and the ability that he possesses to really be a game changer on special teams. I think that really is a way for him to make the team, and he has a chance to kind of be that punt kick return guy maybe with the competition from Rondale Moore as well, if he's healthy. But I think he's a guy that you can kind of get excited about, like that he could take a punt and maybe take it to the house and kind of change the course of a game.
It's certainly a phase of the game, special teams, that gets overlooked at this time of the year because everybody's talking about their big free agent acquisitions, all the big early draft picks. But certainly you're right, Reg. By the time week one starts, we all know how important that special teams phase is. And by the way, speaking of that game, Rams-Vikings, Matt Stafford had 3 interceptions that game. I remember because I started them in fantasy football, and they still won the game. They still beat the Vikings that game. I'm looking at just the path of least resistance. It still feels like Donovan Jackson's that plug-and-play day one starter. Yeah, they'll call it a competition with Blake Brandel throughout training camp and preseason. But when you use a first-round pick on a guard, the expectation is that guy's suiting up week one. He's starting week one, 9 out of 10 times. And, also I feel like we got to mention this too, real quick. The fact that Kwesi has now had back-to-back, call it B+, A- free agency windows, both last year and this year. It's made this roster very competitive, very top heavy when it comes to having almost all 22 starting positions kind of set in stone outside of maybe, your cornerback 3 and a few other spots. But yeah, I just don't think it's fair if a lot of these guys don't see the field that much this year that we immediately overreact and call this class a bust this time next year. It's a good problem to have for sure. Plenty more deep dive. ESPN's latest power rankings after the draft. Where do the Vikings rank? Is it too high, too low? Plus a fun little pick'em segment coming up a little bit later on as well. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Right now, FanDuel's giving you a chance at a huge return, $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Why I love FanDuel? When you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can go check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play, all on the same page where you place your bets. Again, $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 bet. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Get in some NBA future action while you're there. T-Wolves looking to bounce back after last night's loss to Golden State. Opening line this morning, Wolves by 10 at home, Thursday, 7:30 p.m. tip. It's all setting up over at FanDuel.com. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, before we get to this ESPN new power rankings, I was on FanDuel yesterday. Speaking of FanDuel, I saw J.J. McCarthy's 2025 yardage prop. Now, it's too early. They don't have all these fun, exotic props, touchdowns, interceptions, rushing yards. But let's go around the circle real quick. Tell me what you think J.J. McCarthy's yardage prop is set at for 2025. And then I'll unveil what they got up there. You guys can give me your knee-jerk reaction. Reggie, go ahead. Lay it on us. What do you think J.J. McCarthy's 2025 FanDuel yardage prop is set at?
200.
200 for the whole season. 200.
Oh, for the whole season. I thought you were
smashing that over right now.
Okay. All right. We'll go 3,500.
3,500. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Julie, what do you got?
I thought you were talking about that too, and then I was confused.
So you were going to go, Reggie went 200. You're going to go 201, play Price is Right style.
I'm going to go 35. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go a little over that. 30. Let's go 37.
37. Okay, 37. Ron Johnson, what do you think?
3701.
No, I knew you were gonna go Price.
So Sam Darnold threw for 43-19.
Yep.
I do know, what is that? 1 playoff game or 2 playoff games in there? Did they lose after the first one?
No, that's just regular season. That was just regular season, 43-19.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so 43-19, just 17 games. I think they think J.J. McCarthy can get similar to that. I'm going to go 3,800.
Yeah. I'm with you guys going a little bit more than Reggie, but actually Reggie nailed it. His current prop right now is set at 3,500.5. 3,500.5 passing yards. And
Bang!
dude, like
The Jordan Mason effect. Jordan Mason gets traded.
maybe
and,
that's it, Ron. I mean, let's talk through this because I like, first of all, I get it. For all practical purposes, this guy's a rookie. Okay. We've never seen him take a real meaningful snap yet in the NFL. I get it. But having said that, Ron, to your point, let's look at the last 3 quarterback seasons under KOC. Kirk Cousins, 2022, first year in the system, over 4,500 passing yards. Cousins, 2023, he was on pace for over 5,000 passing yards before he got hurt. And then Sam Darnold, 4,319, as you mentioned. So when I see that, McCarthy said at 3,500, knowing he's got better protection, arguably a better supporting cast than Kirk or Darnold ever did. You think about Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, the offensive line overhaul, Addison and Jefferson another year into their careers. Hawkinson should be fully 100% finally. 3,500 yards, you guys. That seems awfully low to me. Ron, what do you think?
Say it again. What was you talking about the
3,500? Yeah. Don't you think that seems low, knowing that Kirk and Darnold?
So no. So yes, it does. Looking at Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins, but no. When you think about, again, Kevin O'Connell has stated, if I can run the ball, I feel like that's something that can help our team. One, keeps the clock going, moving forward versus our offensive line having to do, and then maybe add Donovan Jackson is part of this. I mean, if you watch his tape, like I keep talking about this, and again, screens do count as a pass. So I think people forget that. Like the 49ers were a heavy screen game team. Jordan Mason's coming from that situation. Kevin O'Connell has stated, like, you don't trade for that running back if you don't feel like your running back room is set or you can get one in the draft. So I do feel like he wants to be able to have a 1-2 running back punch so that everything's not on his quarterback shoulders have to wing it. Sam Darnold went out and won games because he was trying to make $100 million. I think he wants JJ McCarthy to get out there and just say, hey, have fun. But if it becomes a Michigan Penn State, and that's why I can't wait to have another sit down with just Kobe King and talk about that Penn State game versus Michigan. The entire second half, they never threw the ball. Never threw the ball the whole second half. That's insane. Yeah, so I think, JJ understands too, and Kevin O'Connell understands. JJ is okay with whatever we got to do to win the game. We can do that. And you look at like the potential tight end room. They don't have a true blocking tight end right now, in my opinion. And so how do you manipulate these runs? Is it bringing in another offensive lineman? Is it, bringing in an additional, guard swing guy? Donovan Jackson kicks out. Or not, Blake Brandel kicks out and becomes your end, and O'Neal becomes your tackle, tight end tackle.
You don't think that they'll, now that TJ is back and healthier, that they'll have Josh Oliver be more of a blocking tight end again?
I would hope so, but I've never felt like Josh Oliver was a true just blocking tight end. Like, in my opinion, with the Ravens, with the Ravens, he was more of a like Lamar Jackson rolls out a lot. So he was more of a like block, release, and I don't know. Again, JJ McCarthy is very mobile, but we'll see with that knee. Like, we'll see what that's going to look like. So I'm not saying there's going to be an RPO, but I'm not saying there's not going to be. So like JJ McCarthy is mobile, but everybody wants to see, because he talked about the weight loss, the stress, can he get back to his playing weight? Can he get back to feeling like if I run and take a hit, I'm okay? But the one thing I will say about the weight thing, people forget Lamar Jackson lost a ton of weight too. And he says, because I want to feel faster when I play. So, who knows? We'll see what JJ looks like.
Josh Oliver, by the way, coming out of San Jose State, he was known as a pass catching tight end. From my lens, I thought he got better each year at blocking. I don't know what people consider him to be, a receiving or a blocking tight end at this point, but yeah, you're right. This tight end room, certainly kind of some question marks once you get past Hawkinson and Oliver for that point. Julie, you guessed 3,700. I want to say you were deep in thought there for a little bit. You thought about it long and hard. 3,500. Do you think that's too low, too high, or just about right?
No, I mean, I'd give him a little bit more than that, but I do agree with Ron in saying they told us that they're working on the run game. I mean, they said that that's a huge reason why they drafted Donovan Jackson too, is because that's what Kwesi said, 10 minutes after they drafted the guy. They're like, we're really putting an emphasis on the run game this year. That's why you get Jordan Mason. That's why you bring Aaron Jones back after what he did last season. So no, it's not surprising to me. Also, like, technically this is his rookie year, there's just so many question marks. I don't think FanDuel's going to put like a ton of confidence in a guy that they haven't seen play an actual NFL game before, no matter what kind of offensive weapons he has when it comes to this passing game. And also, it's to Ron's point as well, like, he's a more mobile quarterback than they've had in years.
Yeah.
So that's something that you have to consider if you're going to compare him to Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins, especially Kirk. So yeah, and also you have to think about like teams preparing for the Vikings. They know that you have a guy like Justin Jefferson. You see him get not just double teamed, you see him triple teamed on every single snap. So it's something people expect the Vikings to pass, and so they do have to switch up their game a little bit this year too. And I think it's just adjusting to JJ McCarthy too, and being a dual threat quarterback. So.
Yeah, good point there. Good breakdown. I feel like KOC has been banging the table since he got here in 2022 to have a consistent threat on the ground, a consistent running game. Everybody saw that stat in Soldier Field when Aaron Jones finally scored like a 1-yard plunge. It was like 18 games from the last time the Vikings have scored a rushing touchdown inside the 5-yard line. I agree with Jordan Mason coming in and the offensive line overhaul for sure. It's going to be a little bit more balanced than we're used to. Now, I'm sure KOC will even admit this. There are times in the game where he just loses controls and just he can't help himself. He just dials up pass after pass after pass. But for the most part, I think the kind of general blueprint or game plan this year is definitely going to be the Vikings running the ball with that 1-2 punch for sure. Reggie, outside of just like you nailed it. So outside of, you're a genius, smartest man alive. What was your quick initial thoughts? Again, you nailed it, 3,500. But what was your quick initial knee-jerk reaction thoughts when you heard this line?
Yeah, I think it's just more so that, Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings brass just kind of made the decision that they were going to beef up the trenches and also beef up the running back room as well to help kind of just take some of the pressure off of JJ McCarthy. Now, look, we see who KOC is. Like, the last few years, like, he is a pass happy play caller. And we see that and we understand that. But I think there's going to have to be time that he needs to save JJ McCarthy from himself, because this is a lot that's going to be thrown at him in his first meaningful playing time as a professional. And so I think, having Jordan Mason, having Aaron Jones, and having the big guys up front being able to clear some running lanes, I think, I don't think it's going to be quite like it was at Michigan, because I do think that, he was a little handicapped sometimes, I feel like, with like Harbaugh's insistence that they run the ball, but they did have 2 really good running backs at Michigan as well. But, you got guys like, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, Naylor. We talked about Felton and Moore, and he's got all these
wheel route. Watch out,
CJ Ham, who was at the Wolves game last night but didn't get a shout out. But that's neither here nor there. But
that's a fullback life, though, Reg.
I know that's true.
Life.
That's true. But I think they have the type of complementary style that can help kind of offset some of the pass happy tendencies from Kevin O'Connell. But you look at who is like, direct, I don't know, friend, because they're like around the same age, but guy he kind of came under was Sean McVay. McVay really kind of revamped the way he did offense and really kind of made running the ball a feature of his offense, kind of after he kind of figured out, okay, yeah, maybe I can't like throw the ball 72 times a game with Jared Goff. And so I think, this will be like an evolution of Kevin O'Connell, and it'll challenge him a little bit to do things a little bit differently and try to find some success.
I like that word you use, evolution, because you're right. Now you're entering year 4 as a head coach. You got to keep evolving in this league, man. It's a copycat league. I'm interested in what Brian Flores unveils this year, because it did feel like at times, guys, as fun and as exotic as that Flores defense was, I just have a little bit of PTSD from the Mike Zimmer era, that last year or two, where it's just like the league eventually, unless you keep them on their toes and keep switching it up, they will figure you out eventually. But we got a whole summer to talk about that. Again, it seems low to me, 3,500. To be honest, I never touch any season-long props anyways. One hamstring injury, a tweaked ankle, all of a sudden the guy's out 2-3 games, and now it's like, all right, this is impossible to hit this now. But if he does play all 17 games, again, former top 10 pick for a reason. Got a redshirt year under his belt. I like the over 3,500 yards, even with the Vikings being a little bit more run balanced, a little bit more run heavy for sure, especially I would think down in the red zone. By the way, early Super Bowl odds, Vikings tied for 12th lowest odds with the Chargers, Texans, and Bucks as we sit here today. So not getting a ton of respect right now, or maybe not a lot of faith in JJ McCarthy running the show until he actually goes out there and proves it. Everybody's got to see it to believe it. Don't go anywhere. ESPN's Power Ranking Fun Pick'em segment. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, now with more than 10 million members to date. And for me and my money, it's just by far the easiest. It's the most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. It's so simple, too. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Baseball season officially here. Could be strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, stolen bases, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. All right, free agency has come and gone. Draft is over. Dust is settled. 2025 offseason is in the books. ESPN has unveiled their first 2025 power rankings, guys. Anybody want to take quick stab? Just shout it out. Where do you think the Vikings placed in the ESPN power rankings before I unveil this? What do you think? Okay, nobody wants to guess. All right.
What is it, 9th, right?
Oh, you saw it. Okay, you saw it. Okay, it was 9th. It was 9th.
Yeah, we didn't want to. You gave us the answers to the test, so we was just like,
who's gonna do it?
The one we weren't supposed to peek on is the JJ McCarthy props.
That's fair. No, that's
Like,
fair. That's fair.
It's too high or too low, and I'll say
Guys,
I think it's right on.
This
I don't
is
think
like
it's
the
too high or too
substitute
low.
coming in. Anybody seen School of Rock? All right, this is the substitute coming
Bueller.
in. I maybe drop the answers to the
Bueller.
test here once in a while.
Yeah, no, I don't. I think it's right on. I wouldn't
Okay.
say too high, too low. I think it's right on. When you look at the NFC North, I think they're the overall best conference, and I think that's what this comes down to. I think the Lions. I didn't even looked at it, but the Lions are what, like 3rd, right? If I'm
4
not
Lions
mistaken?
are 4, Packers
4, okay.
8. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I think that's right in line with the NFC, because I honestly, like, the Vikings and Packers are going to be a head-to-head back and forth battle. Again, they gave the Vikings no credit last year. I think this year they're just getting credit because they're like, oh crap, Kevin O'Connell can do it with any quarterback. So that's why they, like, last year, what were they, like 17th, 18th, 19th?
Yeah, that feels about right. Yeah, coming off that tough 2020.
And then at one point they were 29th as far as quarterback room.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't get, whatever. Have fun with your power rankings. They have no idea half the time. They're just throwing darts at a wall and saying, okay, I hit one.
Lions 4, Packers 8. I thought that was interesting. I put them maybe a little bit lower, to be honest. Bears at 21. Julia, what was your just kind of instant knee-jerk reaction? Vikings ranked 9 on the power rankings. Yeah.
I think they rank 9, like Ron said, because it's Kevin O'Connell. I think it's we sit here and we speculate every week on Wednesday, but there's so much unknown about this season. And honestly, it's like the biggest question mark is for this roster, and especially with the additions that they made, is how will this roster bounce back? There's so many injuries that people are coming back from, and you're waiting to see how it'll all play out now that people are healthy, including obviously your quarterback. And so it's just kind of a big what if. And it's a big what if of, like, is Kwesi good at this whole offseason thing, or was last year a fluke? And so we're just kind of waiting to see if the pieces come together like they did last year when he went through free agency. So I think it's like such a huge question mark. I think that they have the pieces to work together, but it's just going to come down to, like, how much guys really trust their body coming back from big injuries at the end of it.
Yeah, good point. It feels like another, again, just rock solid monster offseason for Kwesi. You don't have a lot of draft picks. The only early draft pick you use on a guard, but your starters are set. The offensive line does feel like you turned it from a weakness into a strength, at least on the interior. But yeah, until people see this KOC JJ McCarthy connection with their own eyes, him take the keys and keep this car on the road here for the Vikings, They're going to be ranked a little bit, like the Super Bowl odds. They're going to be ranked, outside of that top tier and maybe outside of even that second tier. Reg, instant reaction, number 9, too high, too low. What do you think?
I think it's considering, quarterback is the most important position to a team in the NFL. I think, 9 is pretty generous. And I would agree with Julia. Like, yeah, I think it's that Kevin O'Connell privilege. He got multiple quarterbacks in that 2023 season to play competent enough and win football games. Like, he's kind of like the QB whisperer at this point. And so I think that they're having a lot of confidence that Kevin O'Connell will do what he needs to do to help JJ McCarthy succeed and win meaningful football games as well. And so, this is a team that, is coming off of 14 wins. Granted, is with another quarterback, but I think, you kind of give the benefit of the doubt to as Julia said, to the offseason that they had and the personnel that they now possess on both sides of the ball in the trenches, and just the guys who are pulling the strings. Like Brian Flores is one of the best doing it on the defensive side, and Kevin O'Connell is one of the best doing it on the offensive side. And so you kind of look at those things and you're like, okay, nine seems fair, and let's see if they can live up to it.
Yeah, well said. Again, these power rankings, like Ron always says, like take them with a grain of salt for sure. They change so much week to week. And for the most part, if you ever go back, which nobody does, if you ever go back and check it, a year after the fact, they're all over the map and very, very inconsistent. Nonetheless, I'm with you guys. Yeah, number 9 for never seeing JJ McCarthy at this point does seem pretty solid. Tells you they have a lot of faith in, again, the offseason they put together in back-to-back years. And all the starters, when you look at all the starters outside of the quarterback, it feels like they've done their part. Now it's just finding out if J.J. McCarthy is truly your franchise quarterback. One last final segment here. I got a fun little rapid-fire pick-em for you guys. It's got all based around 2 specific Vikings players for each position. I just want to know which guy you think will have a bigger impact for the team in 2025. Ron, I'll start with you for the first one. Just a quick 30, 60 seconds. Tell me which player you think is going to have a bigger impact this season and why. First one up, who's going to have a bigger impact on the defensive line? Javon Hargraves or Jonathan Allen? What do you think?
Jonathan Allen, because I met him at the draft party, him and his wife and the baby. So I got a chance to talk to them. And I got to meet the baby. And so just talking about the first one, I for some reason, he just feels old to me. So I was like, dang, you're kind of, and then he's like, no, man, I'm only like 30, 31. I was like, oh yeah, that's when I heard my first kid. So, so I'm pulling for Jonathan Allen.
Julia, what do you think? Javon Hargraves or Jonathan Allen?
Come on. Who do we think I'm going to pick?
Jonathan
Allen goes, roll Tide. I seen this guy in action when I was in college. He got married. His reception was at Bryant-Denny Stadium. He's Alabama through and through, but also he's done well in the league. This is a good toss. That's a good toss up, but obviously my Alabama bias is going to come through here and say Jonathan Allen.
Well, I'm a big draft guy. I remember this draft class, and I remember when he came out of that draft from Alabama, first round, top 20 pick going to Washington. I was a huge fan of him. And yeah, maybe a little, a couple injury bugs like most players do when you have a lengthy career. But nonetheless, he has been rock solid. I'm excited to see him in these trenches and for Brian Flores. Reggie, what do you think? Toss up Javon Hargraves or Jonathan Allen?
Give me Hargrave. I think, I think Jonathan Allen is going to be a very productive player. But, we really didn't get a chance to see just how disruptive Hargrave could be last year. He only played in 3 games, but in those 3 games, he had, a sack steal. He had 7 tackles, but you look back to his last healthy season where he played 16 games. He had 44 tackles. And 7.5 sacks. And if you got someone who is being disruptive like that on the interior of the line, like I'm here for that. Like, I think that's when Kevin O'Connell kind of looked at it, they were just like, oh, this is probably music to our ears. Let's plug this dude in and see if we can get similar production. I think, Brian Flores will put him in really good positions to be able to, be disruptive and succeed. And I think he's going to be a very impactful player for the Vikings next year.
Reggie, 2 years ago when he did have that great healthy season, was that still in Philly or was he in San Fran? Do you
He was
remember?
in San Fran.
He
Yeah.
was in San Fran. I
Yeah.
just feel like, and he was asked to do a lot in San Fran that year. He was asked to be the guy in the following year as well. I just
And
feel like,
in fact, in that Super Bowl loss, he had a sack, a fumble recovery, and 6 tackles in
he
that
ate.
loss to the Chiefs. So like
Yeah.
he could do some things. He's a disruptive player.
I promise you, San Fran did not want to get rid of this guy, right? But they just, as you saw with their entire roster top to bottom, they just had to clear some cash and open up some space for the eventual signing of Brock Purdy. They've gone through a massive overhaul, but if they had their choice, they would have definitely retained this dude. He's been that good for them for sure. Next one up, let's start with Reggie, work our way back. Blake Cashman or Ivan Pace? Blake Cashman or Ivan Pace, bigger impact for the Vikings defense in 2025?
I think Blake Cashman is just going to continue to excel. I think him and Flores is a good marriage. Like Flores identified Cashman as a player that he felt like was a good fit for his scheme, and he was last year. And I think they did well when Cashman couldn't play, but when he was in the game, like he's a game wrecker. And so I do look. We talk about Ivan Pace in the sports office all the time. Julia knows. I think he's a special player. Covered him in high school, so there's some familiarity there. But I do think that Blake Cashman has been as advertised, and he'll continue to excel in his role.
Yeah, well said, Julie. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Cash too. I mean, he comes back home to his hometown team, and he just shows out. And like Reggie said, when he was hurt, they missed him a lot. I also think he's just got more experience than Ivan does. Ivan has been phenomenal considering being a undrafted free agent that came in and pushed people out of their own jobs. But I do think Blake just has more of an impact and where he's at in his career. I think Ivan has the potential to be where Blake is at, but I just don't think that he's there yet.
Yeah, well said. Ron, what do you think? Cashman or Ivan Pace, bigger impact? Oh, Ron's muted.
I want to go Ivan Pace, but I mean, I got to stay true to my Gopher. That's a toss up because I feel like Ivan Pace is going to be more of a sideline to sideline guy. Blake's going to be more of a hard nosed Mike backer that gets to go after the quarterback. So I got to go with Cashman because of that. I think Cashman gets more chances to rush the quarterback.
Up until the last week of the regular season, Blake Cashman, when he started and was healthy, was undefeated for this team. I still cannot get over that Detroit Lions loss and Los Angeles Rams loss on prime time, those back-to-back weeks when Cashman was out. Just the defense looked a little out of sorts, looked a little out of place, and you could just tell they were missing that football IQ guy in the middle that got the call and got the play in ultra quick and then got everybody lined up very quick as well. Blake Cashman, it was just so obvious. It was just very black and white, night and day, the impact that dude has when he's on the field. No disrespect, obviously, to Ivan Pace. We all love him too. Next one up, Ron, let's start with you, work our way back. This one feels like picking your favorite kid. Okay, they're both absolute studs, but Jonathan Grenard or Andrew Van Ginkel, biggest impact for 2025, Ron?
One gets after the quarterback and one can disrupt like screen passes. I'm gonna go with Gink because of the pick six opportunities. Like I think the pick sixes sometimes can outweigh some of these sacks, but I mean they're both going to be up in there in that 15 plus sack range. I think this year it's going to be nuts, but I think Gink, his ability to just read the quarterback, that gives him a little bit more edge to me.
Yeah, Julie, what do you think?
I'll go Grenard. I think Gink is like a clutch player. Grenard's more of a impactful, maybe without so much. I mean, I think he got his flowers eventually, but I think he was so impactful and people kind of still overlooked him a little bit. But I also think Grenard makes, and that's not to say Andrew Van Ginkel, like he is a really nice guy, a great guy, but Jonathan Grenard really makes an impact on, I feel like, the culture of this team too. And so there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, Reggie, what do you think? Grenard, Van Ginkel, bigger impact?
To Julia's point, when we interviewed Grenard after the season ended in Arizona, he said these words, "More is required." And I think he adopted that when he didn't get the All-Pro nod. And if you look at what the team has adopted so far this offseason, it's more is required. And so they have gone as he's led. And so I'll go Grenard for that fact. Also, shout out to the sports science staff, the strength staff. Grenard had a healthy season. Injuries have been something that he's battled in his career. Had a healthy season in Houston, another healthy season last year. So as long as he continues to stay healthy, I think he's going to continue to be a game wrecker because he's motivated. He has a lot of things that he wants to accomplish as a pro and with the Vikings, and I think he's motivated to be able to do that. You're going to see him continue to wreak havoc. And now that they have solidified the trenches a little bit more, and he has a lot more complementary pieces around him, I think he's gonna explode. I would say maybe 15 plus sacks for this guy.
Yeah, especially in this defense. Flores, if you watch the X's and O's, it feels like he draws up a lot of these stunts and twists for Jonathan Grenard to set him up in one-on-one and easy positions, and that's why he was so impactful. If I was starting a team from scratch and I had to pick one, I would go Jonathan Grenard as well. Like more of the lunch pail, more polished, run support, setting the edge, plus the pass rushing as well. Van Ginkel's a little bit more splashy, gives you the fun, sexy plays, the highlight reel plays, and again, still offers that threat off the edge as well. But again, they're both studs in this defense. Last one up here, Reg, last time around, start with you. Jordan Mason or Aaron Jones? This one feels like maybe the toughest one of them all. What do you think? Bigger impact?
I think Aaron Jones because of Jordan Mason. Like Jordan Mason's gonna eat up yards and run for contact, breaking tackles and all that. But I think that Aaron Jones is still that home run hitter who could take a toss 30, 40 yards or take a run play to the house because he's still that dynamic player. So I'll go Aaron Jones, just an edge over Jordan Mason, but because of Jordan Mason.
I like that. Julia, what do you think?
Yeah, I go Aaron Jones. I mean, there's a reason that Jordan Mason hasn't been a starter yet. Aaron Jones, I mean, the season that he had last year, no one expected him to, have that just because everyone talked about his age. I know everyone gets after me for talking about people's age, but I think I think Reggie's right in saying that, and also Aaron Jones. I think he's just playing some of his best football of his career right now. I think he's just in a good spot with a good training team that's helping him out at TCO, and so I'm gonna go Aaron Jones just because we'll know he'll be RB1.
Yeah. Feels like we're splitting hairs. But Ron, what do you think? Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, bigger impact this year?
Aaron Jones, because he's going to be the 1-2, probably even third down back at times. I think Jordan Mason's going to, kind of be that complimentary back that we wanted with Ty Chandler, that we hoped for Alexander Madison to become that next Dalvin Cook, and he was. But then when he came, he became the one and wasn't there anymore. So I think it's definitely Aaron Jones, just because he's going to get more carries.
I agree with you, but I'll push back. I'll play a little devil's advocate. I agree. Aaron Jones, day one, week one, game one, is the first, second, third down guy. But watching him wear down last year, and also knowing he's never played 17, he hasn't played a full slate. He's always missed a game or two, maybe a couple more in there the last couple of years. Now that he's another year older, watching him wear down at the end of last season and not having him fresh for the playoffs when they needed him the most. I think Jordan Mason, a young, spry, energetic, physical runner too. They've been missing a physical presence, in the backfield, down in the red zone, at the goal line, ever since KOC got here. It was Dalvin Cook was phenomenal, but he was more of a home run hitter. Alexander Madison didn't pan out like we thought he would. Jones is definitely going to have more receiving yards, I'm sure, but as far as like touchdowns, I think I would go Mason because I think he's going to get a lot of those 1-yard plunges, be the guy in the fourth quarter they want to wear teams down with. That was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for letting me fill in. That's it for today's show. Don't forget, rookie mini camp for the Vikings kicks off tomorrow at TCO. We'll be back. Arif Hassan, Luke Braun, myself, we'll talk about that and plenty more. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers, by the way. We're so close. Got to go check out Ron Johnson with Kobe King. That was awesome. That interview is sitting up over on the channel as well. Don't want to miss that. Check out Julie and Reggie on Kare 11 each and every week, tackling the Minnesota Timberwolves. Game 2, tip-off 7:30 Thursday. Don't want to miss that. That's in the backyard at the Target Center. That's all for now, though. We'll see you tomorrow on the Minnesota Football Party.